come back again. Not that it really went away, but we had a sort of more chilled time. But now the restrictions are starting to get harsher again here in the UK. And I think we probably will end up in a second lockdown again soon. I don't know what it's like in other countries like the US or Australia, places like that. I don't know what they're like, but our cases are really going up quite high again. And we're now in autumn, so it's really cold here in the UK again. I know some parts of the UK had snow today. I didn't, I just had a load of rain all day. But yeah, I would like to say sorry for not uploading for the past month. I think it might be more than that. The kids have been back at school, I'm back at work, and I've been struggling to find the time to do this because I have the 2 days I have off a week. It's hard because I can't get my room dark enough to record a video for night time. And yeah, it's not really an excuse, but I'm just knackered all the time. But I have missed doing the videos. It's the editing I'm not keen on. So I'm hoping to not do an awfully long video, and just so I can keep the editing to a minimum. Because that takes hours and hours, and then I don't sleep until, say, gone midnight, and then I'm just tired. It just catches up with you. Especially when you're then at work and you're looking after children and stuff. It's not. But I like doing it. But yeah, today I thought that we could do some sort of true crime, but not true crime. It's about serial killers or people in prison. So inmates on death row and what they had for their last meal. Because I always find that quite interesting. Because they all get to pick a meal and they can have whatever they want. Most places they can. And it's just interesting what they'd pick. So, yes. Oh yeah, and I've changed where I sit because I was sat against my wall in the front room, but I sit on a beanbag and there was no room for me to get in and out, so I had to keep climbing over the table. It was just so uncomfortable, so I've moved everything and I put my lights back up today. But yeah, let's get started. Okay, so the website that I have got these off tonight is themedium.com. And the first person we're going to look at is someone called Victor Harry Fegue. He was tried and convicted of murder in federal court for his crimes. He was sentenced to death by hanging. He submitted an appeal, but it was denied, and at the point only President John F. Kennedy could have commuted the death sentence. Kennedy thought that a crime was so brutal that he denied their request. So, he was the last federal inmate executed in the United States before the moratorium on the death penalty followed. Furman v. Georgia criminal case. He was also the last person to be executed in Iowa. After Victor's death, it would be nearly 40 years until the next federal execution. That was Timothy McVeigh for the Oklahoma City bombing. Victor was put to death at the age of 28. For his last meal, he requested a single olive with why he just wanted a single olive is because he thought he could take the pit with him, and when he was buried, an olive tree would grow. I don't know if they allowed him to do that, and I don't know if an olive tree has grown. The next one is Timothy McVeigh, and he was the American terrorist behind the Oklahoma City bombing, which killed 168 people and 680 others were injured. The bombing was the deadliest act of terrorism within the United States prior to the September 11 attacks. And till date, it remains the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in the United States. He was put to death in Indiana by lethal injection at the age of 33, and he was sentenced to death for 168 counts of evil. For his last meal, he requested 2 pints of mint chocolate chip ice cream. Okay. Angel Neves Diaz. He was put to death in Florida by lethal injection at the age of 55. He was sentenced to death for murder, kidnapping and armed robbery, though he maintained his innocence until his death. He declined his last meal, so he was served a regular prison meal, which he declined to eat as well. Stephen Michael Woods Jr. is the next one, and he was sentenced to death after a jury convicted him of the capital murders of a young drug dealer and his wife. In 2004, Woods was fighting for prisoner rights. In late 2006, he was part of a hunger strike in Polanski, I think that's how you spell it, to oppose death row inmates' treatment. The fairness of Wood's case and punishment was highly criticised by American philosopher, cognitive scientist, historian and political activist Noam Chomsky. Reported locally and internationally, his final motion for a stay was denied on September 2nd, 2011. 11 days later, he was executed by lethal injection. He had a crazy last meal request. So, he wanted 2 pounds of bacon, large 4 meat feast pizzas, 4 fried chicken breasts, 2 drinks, each of Mountain Dew, Pepsi, root beer and a sweet tea. So that's 8 drinks, 2 pints of ice cream, 5 chicken fried steaks, 2 hamburgers with bacon, fries, a dozen garlic breadsticks with marinara on the side. How the hell can someone eat all of that? It's just being a pig. John Wayne Gacy. He was a serial killer and was put to death in Illinois by lethal injection at the age of 52. He was Killer Clown, sentenced to death for the rape and 33 counts of murder. All of his victims. For the last meal, he requested 12 fried shrimp, a bucket of original recipe KFC, French fries and a pound of strawberries. Jesus. One fun fact, prior to being convicted, he managed 3 KFC outlets. Ricky Ray Rector is the next, and he was put to death in Arkansas by lethal injection at the age of 42. He was sentenced to death for 2 counts of murder. For his last meal, he requested and received a steak, fried chicken, cherry Kool-Aid and pecan pie. He left the pie on the side of the tray, telling the correction officers who came to take him to the execution chamber, that he was saving it for later. The slice of pecan pie was not disposed of until he had been executed. Robert Alton Harris was executed by gas chamber in 1992 for the 1978 murders of 2 teenage boys in San Diego. His execution was the first in state of California since 1967. For his last meal, he wanted a 21-piece bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, 2 large Domino's pizzas, ice cream, a pack of jelly beans, a 6-pack of Pepsi, and a pack of Camel cigarettes. His execution is specifically remembered for his choice of final words. And he said, "You can be a king or a street sweeper, but everybody dances with the Grim Reaper." Okay. And it's from a film, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. Ronnie Threadgill. He was put to death in Texas by lethal injection at the age of 14, and he was sentenced to death for murder. For his last meal, he requested baked chicken, mashed potatoes with country gravy, vegetables, sweet peas, bread, tea, water and punch. However, Texas abolished last meal choice in 2011, so Threadgill was just given the same meal as everyone else on his unit. The reason that is because that man before that had that huge list. That's why they stopped doing it in Texas, because they said that they were just asking for too much. So, Ronnie Lee Gardner. He received the death penalty for murder in 1985 and was executed by a firing squad by the state of Utah in 2010. Okay. Gardner's attorney said that his client did not want to attract attention and simply preferred to die this way because in 1985, Gardner himself famously quoted, "I'd prefer to die of old age, Your Honour, but if that ain't possible, I'll take the firing squad." Okay, so he asked for that then. For his last meal, he requested steak, a lobster tail, apple pie, vanilla ice cream, and to eat it all while watching the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I couldn't think of anything more boring. Now, this one is the one I'm most looking forward to knowing what he ate, because everybody's heard of him, and it's Ted Bundy. So Chris Hagen, Kenneth Misner, Officer Roseland, Richard Burton, and Rolf Miller. These were just some of the names used by Theodore Robert Bundy, one of the most notorious serial killers in American history. Was put to death in Florida by electric chair at the age of 43. He was sentenced to death for rape, necrophilia, prison escape, and more than 35 counts of murder. I can remember, I don't know why he sacked his lawyers and tried to defend himself, because he knew about law and was studying for law as well, I think. But he maintained that he was innocent up till the end. But he wasn't. There was too much evidence stacked against him. But he declined a special meal, so was given the traditional last meal. Steak, cooked medium rare, eggs over easy, hash browns, toast with butter, and jelly, milk and juice. They're just some of the last meals of death row prisoners, and they speak volumes about the nature of the inmates. This is some called Henry Hargreaves has written this. I don't know, do you feel like what would your last meal be if you had to have one? I don't know what mine would be because I like so much food, but it would probably be chocolate. Because I love chocolate. But I've got a few more. Give me a sec. So Oscar Ray Boland Jr. was a serial killer who was 53 at the time of his death, and he chose to go all out for his final meal. He ordered a ribeye steak cooked medium rare, a baked potato that had both butter and sour cream, a salad that included tomato and cucumber on the top, garlic bread and a bottle of Coke. For dessert, he had some lemon meringue pie. Earl Forrest was involved in a drug dispute that later ended up bringing him in 11 years on death row. Before his execution, he chose to eat pasta, steak, tomatoes, cucumber, a side of fruit, and a piece of chocolate cake. He washed that down with a glass of milk. Lawrence Russell Brewer. His last meal actually caused Texas to stop offering the last meals. So it was this person that told God they must stop. He ordered chicken fried steaks, fried okra, a bacon cheeseburger with triple the meat, 3 fajitas, a pound of barbecue, and an entire meat lover's pizza, a pint of ice cream, and as a finale, a slab of peanut butter fudge with crushed peanuts. I don't know how anyone could eat all of that, to be fair. Daniel Anthony Lucas. He was on death row for 16 years after murdering a family after a home burglary attempt. He ate a steak and cheese calzone, a pizza topped with meat, a stuffed portobello mushroom, and a chef's salad that incorporated both honey mustard and ranch dressing. To drink, he enjoyed orange juice. Sounds like a strange selection, but hey. Last one is John Wayne Connor. So he was in prison after a drunken argument took a deadly turn. His meal choices were more or less doubled before his execution. He ordered 10 hush puppies. I don't know what a hush puppy is. If someone could let me know what that is, I'd be grateful. 10 pieces of fried catfish, 2 triple deluxe hamburgers with bacon added on, and a slice of raw onion, and 2 whole pints of vanilla ice cream. No one knows if he managed to finish it. But yeah, so that's all I have for today. But I promise that I will be back again with another video soon. Hopefully within the next week. Crossing my fingers. I'm going to try and to do one on Tuesday, I think. Ready for Wednesday. But yes, take care, stay safe, and I will see you all